In today's video, we're going to talk about solving equations. There's your learning targets if you'd like to pause and read them. And let's go ahead and get started. So the basic steps for solving equations. When we talk about solving equations, the first thing to notice is there will always be an equal sign and there will be a variable. We'll have to solve for this variable. So we'll end up with n equals something. So here are our basic steps we're going to follow. First, we need to distribute if that's necessary, and it is in this first one. So this is very similar to what you did, what we talked about in the last video. So we're going to have 6n plus 30 equals 2. And so we've distributed. Then we're going to simplify each side by combining like terms. Well, on either side, there are no like terms, so we don't have to do that one. And then we want to move our variables to one side. Our n is on one side. We don't have any more. And then we want to solve using inverse operations. So right now we're adding 30. To get rid of that, we want to subtract 30 from both sides of the equation. It cancels those, and we get 6n equals negative 28. And then the opposite of multiplying by 6 would be to divide by 6. So we're going to divide both sides by 6. That cancels those, and we get n equals negative 14 over 3. And for this particular fraction, I would not accept the decimal form because the decimal form of this is negative 4.6666 repeating. And that is, you have to round in order to write that as a decimal. So instead of rounding, we're going to stick with the fraction. That's called the exact form. You didn't have to round or anything to get there. Okay, let's look at another problem. This is number 3 from the worksheet. First, we're going to distribute the 2. So we get 4 minus 14y minus 5 equals 111. Then we're going to combine like terms on each side. So this 4 and 5 can be combined. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. Minus 14y equals 111. And we want to get the y by itself, so we're going to add 1 to both sides. It gives us negative 14y equals 112. And then we're going to divide both sides by negative 14. That leaves us with y equals negative 8. And that's our answer. Okay, no distributing to do on this one. On either side, they're not like terms. So when it talks about simplifying each side, it's saying this side and this side. So we're going to go ahead and start by bringing the variables all to one side. So we have an a here and an a over here. I'm going to add 6a to both sides. And that's going to give us 16a minus 7 equals 21 because negative 6a plus 6a is 0. Then we're going to add 7 to both sides. Those will go away. 16a equals 28. And then we'll divide both sides by 16. 16 divided by 16 is just 1, so that would be like 1a. And we'll get a equals 28 over 16 simplifies to 7/4. Or I would also accept, in this case, the decimal form because it's just 1.75. You don't have to round or anything to get that. All right, number 7. Distribute first. Negative 40p minus 30 equals 5 minus 5p. I'm going to bring my variables all to one side. So those will give me 0. And then this gives me negative 35p minus 30 equals 5. We will add 30 to both sides. That equals 0. And we get negative 35p equals 35. Divide both sides by negative 35. And negative 35 over negative 35 is just 1. So 1p, but we don't have to write the 1, equals positive 35 over negative 35 is negative 1. So our answer is p equals negative 1. And our final example for this video, it looks a little bit more difficult. So I could, divide 10 by 2, 17 by 2, this by 2, or something like that. But I would rather just undo this divide by 2. Okay, because this whole side is being divided by 2. So if we multiply this whole side by 2, then this 2 and this 2 will cancel each other. And we'll have to multiply this side by 2 as well, because whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So those 2's cancel, and we're left with 10x plus 17 minus x minus 9 equals, and I'm going to write this 2 out in front so it looks more like a distribution, but it's correct either way you write it. So I'm going to do 2 times 3x plus 1. So now we have something that looks like the other things we've been solving. So we're going to distribute this, and remember, when there's no coefficient, that means it's a 1, and we're going to distribute that as well. So we have 10x plus 17 minus x plus 9 equals 6x plus 2. On the left side, I want to combine like terms before I start moving variables across the equal sign. So we're going to get 9x plus 26 equals 6x plus 2. So now we're going to move our variables to one side. So subtract 6x from both sides, and we get 3x plus 26 equals 2. Then I'm going to subtract 26 from both sides. Those will give me 0. And then we'll be left with 3x equals negative 24. Divide both sides by 3. 3 over 3 is just 1. So we'll get x equals negative 8. And that's our final answer. Thanks for listening.